Hey, Tracy lovers. Y'all, I got another question. I want to ask y'all something. Look, if someone was to really watch your life for one full day, will they know who you represent? Not just what you say or what you post, but like how you actually move, like how you actually respond and how you really treat people. Will they see God? Because the truth is, a lot of us, we claim God, but we do not represent him. And that's a problem. I want to talk about it. Because whether we know it or not, if we represent him, we belong to Christ. And we are an ambassador. So, what is an ambassador? Let's talk about that. I want to break that down. Because I did some research, and of course, I'm going to read, what I got from what I looked up and just my perspective on it. So I got an ambassador is just a representative. It's someone who was sent from one country to live in another one, but they still represent their home. Okay? They don't just speak about their own opinions. They speak on behalf of where they come from. All right? Or they just don't move how they feel. They move according to their assignment. Oh my gosh. And that kind of hit hard for me. Because that carries some type of authority and not just what you say or how you feel. You get what I'm saying? And as a believer, I do believe that this world is not our home. So that means we were sent here. We were sent here from heaven. We are just living here and we are representing somewhere else. Y'all following me? And that right there makes us an ambassador. So, of course, y'all know I gotta add some scriptures to it to make it make sense for me. So it won't just be an idea. It's actually in a word. Look, 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 20. But no, 2 Corinthians verse 5, chapter 20, it says, "We are therefore Christ's ambassadors, as though God were making his appeal through us." So we gotta let that sink in. I had to really marinate on that for a minute. And when I marinated on that, it just means a couple things to me. It just means how we speak matter, how we love matter, and how we respond matters. Because we are representing God. A lot of us mess up. We do. A lot of us, we know what God wants, but we don't actually display his doing or how he would move. And then we want the benefits of him. We want to benefit what God can do for us without the responsibility of really representing him. We say we believers, but then we tend to just like move however we feel. And I'm not just talking to y'all. I'm included. I am not excluding myself from this conversation. Sometimes we act out of anger. We hold those grudges. We stay in toxic environments. We compromise things. And then we say, God just know my heart. But as an ambassadors doesn't move off feelings. We move off an assignment. We don't get to represent kingdom but act like we don't belong in it. Now, last week I talked about stewardship, and that kind of go with this ambassadorship. Like I mentioned, We're not wrong. We just have to make some things clear. Stewardship is how we manage what God has given us. Whether that's our time, our energy, our body, our mindset, and our relationships. Them are things that God have given us. That's stewardship. When we can manage those things. Y'all, Luke chapter 16 verse 10 say, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. So yes, when we learn how to steward our life well, we are preparing ourselves to represent God well. But you got to hear me when I say stewardship is preparation. Ambassadorship, that's us representing. That's representation. One of those things train us while the other one sends us, makes us. We can't represent God well if we don't manage ourselves well. And that calls for us to not only have discernment, but to also, have some responsibility. Learn how to manage that. And I just feel like being an ambassador, that means we don't go where God didn't send us. Or we don't stay somewhere God told us to leave. We don't entertain what God told us to release. Because everything that we attach ourselves to is a representation of God. It affects that. So we're not just living for ourselves anymore. We are carrying God's name everywhere we go. So I really wanted to break this down and talk about this because we got to know who we represent and why we represent him and why we need to move a certain way. So before I go ahead and skedaddle, I do want to leave y'all with, some tips on just before you respond, before you react, or before you go back to something, or before you choose to stay in something. You got to ask yourself, do this really represent God? Because being an ambassador is not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. It's about understanding that your life is speaking for him. And that question is, what is it saying? What is your life saying about God? All right, y'all. I really want y'all to sit and answer that question. Think on that. All right. I love y'all and I appreciate those who come and listen and give me an ear and, really let me talk. Be myself. Express. Get the things off my mind that I think is really important. And hopefully this does open somebody's eyes or ears or heart, or just put them on the right track on something. All right, y'all. I love y'all, and I will talk to y'all in my next video. And deuces.